Hi, and welcome to Crypto Talk. Today, Karpeles admits he ran a bot. Will he face a luxurious Japanese prison? So, Roger Ver releases a story on Amir Taaki saying he enjoys heavyset women. Will Taaki fire back? And finally, Jameson Lopp on Twitter reports that some entity is sending 100 times too high of a transaction fee in their transactions. It's now been discovered this is Coinbase, and they are still doing this as we make this video. Will this stop? They're throwing away thousands of dollars per hour. Alright, so let's start with Karpeles. Try to remain even-keeled here and not get opinionated in this segment. So he is charged with embezzlement and data manipulation in a Tokyo District Court. What happened was, he was the owner. He moved $3 million allegedly into his own personal account from an account holding customer funds. His defense is claiming it's not, and it's all for the good of the company. But what's really interesting is this guy Colin Burgess reports, who was attending the trial apparently, that he admits to operating the Willy bot, which it was called. People were suspecting this way back when MTGOX was the main exchange, and price would just sort of just pump, and no one could tell why. They're like, who is all these people buying these coins and just spiking the price up? And yeah, it would go down sometimes, but it was really a driver from coins going to 900 from really $30 is right when MTGOX started being really heavily used by the public, because it got mentioned in a couple mainstream articles and such. So anyway, by the way, this is from the Merkle, this information, but again, Colin Burgess is reporting it firsthand, attending the trials. So it's actually very fascinating, because again, as this article says, Bitcoin's price was pumped up by all those fraudulent trades, and it seems like if you really think about it, it would benefit Karpeles a lot to have this bot pumping the price up, because then people are just going to keep sending dollars, US dollars, to his account, which if he already moved $3 million out of an account that was all customer funds, all people depositing to buy coins, but 10,000 at a time, 5,000 at a time, 1,000 at a time. He needed more of that. It's basically a giant Ponzi scheme what this guy did, and it's very fucked up. But again, Japanese prisons, he'll be sitting in a luxurious cell for a couple years. He's not really going to suffer, but again, we're not opinionated. We just report the facts here on this segment. So anyway, now let's report to some more facts regarding Amir Taaki and Roger Ver. So here you see a picture of Roger Ver. Alright, I know we can't be opinionated on this segment, but I just can't help it. This guy is just a tool. Look at this guy. He's just a fucking tool. Look at him in this stupid fucking helmet, sitting there grinning like I'm on a fucking thing. Oh my god. Alright, so anyway, he reports this thing. So they're going on a Segwit tour here. This guy summarized it really good. It's just blah blah blah. Everyone was thoroughly enjoying the tour. So they're on a Segway tour or whatever. I keep wanting to call it Segwit. They're on a Segwit tour, and then Amir, for whatever reason, couldn't stay with the group. He would constantly go off on his own. The tour guide was constantly having to chase him down and tell him to stay within his group. Sounds pretty cool. I like that. That's probably what I would be doing. Apparently this wasn't enough. Later on, Amir was near our group, but he noticed I love how this guy reports, he noticed a rather large girl. He feels the need to report she's large. So I guess Amir Taaki enjoys heavyset women, which, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. What's wrong with enjoying heavyset women? Alright? So, but anyway, she had a sign that said free hugs. So he just hops off his Segwit. I'm calling it Segwit, by the way. It is Segway, but I'm saying Segwit because it sounds funnier in my mind. And this is for my own entertainment at the end of the day, so that's what we're doing. Hops off his Segwit to give the girl a hug, leaves his Segwit on, but with no one in control of it. Without anyone to guide it, his Segwit instantly goes off on his own, goes full speed into a busy intersection with cars, comes within inches of being hit by a moving trolley and eventually crashed full speed into a tree, tipped over, and started gyrating on the ground. And here's the best part. Amir watched all of this happen directly due to his own fault, and rather than coming and apologizing to the tour operator, he literally ran away down the street on foot, never to be seen again for the rest of the event. Oh man, let's just appreciate the beauty of this. This guy was basically just like, fuck these tools. Like, again, I probably would have done the same if I'm like, do I just want to hang out with this guy all day and like hear him talk about how we need fucking unlimited blocks so he can like buy a coffee? Like, really? I mean, seriously. Oh, I just don't know, people. I don't know sometimes. Anyways, let's move on to our last topic of this segment. Jameson Lopp, who goes by @Lopp on Twitter, who is an engineer, much like my father. He noticed something just by looking at the transaction fees paid per byte. He noticed a spike basically intermittently at like sort of random intervals. I can see it now. It's very obvious. The fee per byte should be at $2.50 and they're paying up to 10x. They're paying, you know, $2,500 per byte in these little segments of time. So he looked into it more and apparently he figured out somehow, I don't know how, but this is what engineers do. They're sharp. They figure shit out. Like, this is why they've built this fucking world. He noticed and he somehow figured out it's Coinbase. But anyway, if you want, retweet and try to spread the word to Coinbase about this going on, because it's just, at the end of the day, you don't want to see it taken out on the users who have their money on Coinbase. Like, if Coinbase is paying 15 times or 100 times the transaction fee they should be every hour, that's like ends up being a lot of money. It's like somebody said it's like 16 up to 16 coins a day or an hour or something. So anyway, you don't want that money just going out of the system to miners for no reason. Like, miners are already making plenty, as we've discussed before. They're killing it. So definitely interesting, but a lot of credit to Jameson Lopp for just noticing that and trying to spread the word, trying to help these companies out. You know, the word incompetence comes to mind with a lot of these Bitcoin companies. It's just, you don't understand how they can be so incompetent, especially when they should be making so much money, and like they just don't have employees for support. Like, they can't respond to their customers. They take forever to get this stuff straightened out. They make mistakes like this. It's very, very frustrating, but at the end of the day, they do not represent Bitcoin and its users as a whole. They're just a very small segment that is in it for the money, which, you know, a lot of people are not in it for. Like, the guys who started the cypherpunks, they're in it because they trusted each other and they didn't trust the banks and shit. They're like, let's invent a money that we, like, yeah, it's somewhat about money because they're using, it is money, but like, they're like, alright, money already exists, so they're not like, let's invent money. They're like, let's invent a money where we don't have to trust the banks who fuck us and do inflation and all this other bullshit, fractional reserve lending, etc. Let's just invent a money where if we trust each other, we can send money back and forth between each other, and like, we don't have to worry about any of that. It's just like PGP and encryption. So, like, that's what it's all about. It's about trust, trusted nodes, and you just got to be careful and think, be an individual, use your mind, and you will figure out what to do in this space. Good luck all.